All right, let's talk Dallas Cowboys. Look, this time of the year, everyone's excited to see the rookies, rookie mini camp, all that's going on. OTAs right around the corner. It feels like football is slowly getting closer and closer to actually coming to fruition. And the Dallas Cowboys, we talked about them this entire offseason, making smart moves and acting key changes across the board. But when you take a step back and look at some of the bigger moves still on the table for Dallas versus all the other decisions they made, it's clear the Cowboys made a really impressive move, just an incredible flip for what they've been in years past. We'll get into a deeper dive on this in just 1 second. But first, I'm Nick. That's Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, let's back up 1 year, right? And we were talking about this time of year for the Dallas Cowboys, extending Dak Prescott, locking down CeeDee Lamb, all that kind of stuff. And it just overhang the entire offseason, the debacle that ended up being. And then right before, of course, week one against Cleveland, they give Dak Prescott his mega deal. So instead of the Dallas Cowboys having an active offseason, the overhang of Dak Prescott has really, or at least last year, appeared to be, if you listen to the way people were talking in the organization, constraining the moves they were going to make. Now let's talk about what's going on in 2025, and the overhang is the Micah Parsons situation. So first, let's get into the latest with Parsons, and then we'll break down exactly why the Cowboys front office has fixed their mistakes that they made in 2024. This first report is courtesy of NBC Sports, and it's quoting Stephen Jones. I've never been one to crystal ball when contracts get done, Jones told host Adam Shine. I mean, you can be close, you can think you're right around the corner, and then they get pushed out, and then there's extenuating circumstances as to why they or their agent don't want to pull the trigger. So, that's just a work in progress. Doesn't sound like it's too close. It's never easy to comment on them because you really don't know where you are until both sides are ready to go. But obviously, our goal is to, and we have visited at times with Micah, and our goal is to get him here. And I think Micah wants to be a Cowboy, and we want him to be a Cowboy long term. All right, so long story short, it feels a little bit like Dak Prescott's contract 2024. Both sides, that we all know they're kind of dancing. They're going to sign a deal. It's just taking way longer than honestly it really should. But let's go back again to 2024 and let's pull up the moves the Cowboys made during that offseason. And again, for those of you who don't remember, it's a very short list. Their only significant signing was Eric Kendricks, the linebacker, of course, the veteran. They added Royce Freeman, a free agent running back who did absolutely nothing, of course, didn't even make it really into the regular season. And they re-signed Jordan Lewis and they re-signed their long snapper, right? They made other kind of like minor moves around the fringes too, but it was a very inactive offseason for the Cowboys with the Dak Prescott overhang. This offseason, despite the Micah Parsons overhang, it's been completely different. Let's go ahead and pull up this next chart here. And this is just a list of all the major moves. You can see the font gets a lot smaller because a lot of stuff's going on. We know about Pickens, Murray, of course, Kyer Elam adding some depth. You go Dante Fowler, Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, two running backs there, Solomon Thomas, Peyton Turner, defensive lineman, adding Jack Sanborn, and then, of course, you end up with Robert Jones and Adeniji being depth offensive linemen at the bottom of your screen. So basically, the contrast is very clear. The Cowboys, with the overhang of Prescott, did nothing in 2024. We saw how disappointed the season ended up being. Obviously, injuries were a factor, but look, you lose the offseason, you lose free agency. That'll certainly weigh into your performance on the field. This offseason, 2025, the overhang is now Micah Parsons. And the Cowboys of yesteryear, it would have blown up the entire offseason. They would have made none of these moves. The Pickens trade never would have happened. The Murray deal, the Sanborn deal, the defensive lineman, re-signing Osa Odigizua, never would have happened. Everything would have been caught up behind just the Micah Parsons drama. Instead, the Cowboys, look, the Parsons thing is going on. It's taken much longer than I like. But despite that overhang, they went out and absolutely crushed the offseason. This is even before we go into the draft, which we've talked about a lot. They did a great job finding a lot of great value pieces there. So let's give the Cowboys front office a lot of credit, right? As bad as they were last year in 2024, and they were bad, deservedly so, this year, complete 180, same circumstances, star player, franchise player, Prescott last year, Parsons this year, overhang of a contract extension. 2024, they screwed it up. They allowed that overhang to destroy their offseason. 2025, they completely flipped the script. They had a great offseason, addressed a bunch of things through free agency, a bunch of things through trades, had a good draft with the exact same overhang. This is a great job at the Cowboys front office, learning from their mistakes. Let's give credit where credit is due. They've made a lot of mistakes, but so far in 2025, they're learning from them in Dallas. And if that continues, this may be one of those years. I know we say it every year, but whether it's this year or in a short time in the future, the Cowboys finally get over the hump. All right, Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, Cowboys fans, in the comment section below, Of all of the moves the Cowboys have made this offseason, all the acquisitions, what's one under the radar acquisition that you think people aren't paying attention to, but you think could actually be a really great value for Dallas? So, me personally, I look at what they did as a Dante Fowler, bringing him back into the fold. I think he's a guy who will come in and be a big, just opposite of Micah Parsons. He's going to be a sack fiend because we know Parsons, Odigizua. We look at all the young guys up front, defensive line. Fowler's going to get some great matchups and a lot of playing time early. I'm expecting big things from him. But give us an under the radar move in your own mind. Maybe it's Fowler, maybe somebody else, and put it in the comment section below. But Miles, over to you now. What are your thoughts on just everything going on with the Dallas Cowboys now that they flipped the script and they're actually having a great offseason with a big overhang?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is, 100% problem solved because as you alluded to, and when you look at the charts, there's no question that the way that they've gone after this offseason has really been a whole lot different and they've been a lot more successful as well. I think the free agent signings, the big trades, getting a deal like trading for George Pickens done with the Micah Parsons contract looming over you, that old Dallas front office would never have been able, the mentality, everything going on with their wouldn't have been able to pull off things like that, navigate those waters, and be able to get those type of deals done. And like you alluded to, I think that you compare that with the draft that they had as well. I think they did a lot of really good stuff in the draft. I think they had a lot of really good value out of players. I think Ezraku was a great value where he was drafted. I think Revel, a great value where he was drafted. Heck, Jaden Blue out of Texas, a great value where he was drafted. There's a lot of good players that Dallas got. That there had to been a lot of research. There had to be a lot of things going on as far as what they were looking for, having their draft board set up nicely, waiting, seeing where everybody was going to slide. A lot of these guys were sliding. It looked like Ezra was a guy who would go, in the first round, maybe early second round, but kept sliding, kept sliding, kept sliding. Dallas is able to snag them. It's easy to lose sight of those type of things when you have some big contracts looming that you need to get done, but they were able to not do as such. They were able to get it done and continue to make big moves, to have big trades, to have a big free agency, and on top of that, to have a big draft, have a successful draft as well. I think that's unprecedented. I think it shows that this team really has it together. I know a lot of people like to be negative about every single thing that Dallas does. I know a lot of people like to question every pick they make, every trade they make, everything they do. Why haven't they signed Parsons yet? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you look at the totality of the circumstances and stop focusing on the negative and be like, okay, despite this one thing that I'm going to continue to pick out that they've done wrong, what have they done right? This is a team that has done a whole lot of things right this offseason. They've made a lot of wins. There might be a few hangups, the things that we want done faster, but overall, this offseason has been one of the better Dallas offseasons we've seen in a very, very long time.